Hi. Today I'm going to be telling you guys about the time I went to Washington, D.C., which just so happened to be from November 8th to 10th, also known as the eve of Trump's impeachment trials. I wasn't going because the impeachment trials were about to start. We were going for a conference, but it was still kind of interesting to be there and see what everything was like and the kind of climate that was going on in Washington at the time. So I'm just going to tell you guys about what I did that weekend. The entire reason I was going, as I mentioned, was because of a conference. It was being held at National Stadium. It was from my sorority. And it was very interesting because the Washington Nationals had actually just won the World Series, so it was super cool there, super fun. And while I was there, I actually got a chance to meet Kelly Fisher-Katz. She's an alumna of my sorority. She was our keynote speaker, and her story was just incredible. I legitimately was crying by the end of it. She was just fantastic, and I'm super happy I got a chance to meet her. She's very inspiring, and her whole thing is just basically you need one person to believe in you to be able to do amazing things. And it just got to my heartstrings. I really liked it. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'm Canadian. I am from Canada. And I live about, 7 hours away driving from Washington. So me and my friend V, we decided we were going to drive to Washington. So 7 hours and 5 different states later, we made it to Washington. We had to drive through some states I've never been in, one of them being Pennsylvania. Do people live there? I just saw a whole lot of cows. I didn't see a single person. Do you know somebody who lives in Pennsylvania? I need to know. I don't think people really live there. I think it's just a state full of cows. I know people live in Pennsylvania, it's just a joke. After we did all of our driving and we finally got to Washington, D.C., we went to our hotel, which was pretty close to where Nationals stadium is. So we parked our car, we met up with our friend who was staying with us who had flown, which would have been way, way smarter. 7 hours in a car. But, so we met up with her at the Smithsonian Museum of Art. There's a few different Smithsonian museums, so we were at the art one. After that, we decided to go to the Holocaust Museum for a little bit, which was amazing. I loved every second of that museum. I wish I could go all the time. It was beautiful. I loved it. After that, we decided, we're hungry. We need food. So we asked people who worked at the museums and just people from Washington where we should eat. And they pointed us into a direction of Obama's favorite pizza place. I believe it's called Pie. But if you go to Washington and ask for Obama's favorite pizza place, they'll tell you. It's not too hard to find. And hands down, it was the best pizza I have ever had. Oh my God, it's Chicago style deep dish. It is fantastic. If you ever find yourself in DC, go and eat there. You will not be disappointed. After we had our pizza, we called it a night. We went back to the hotel, went to bed because we had to be up super early for the conference the next day. Which brings us to day 2, which was the conference. So the conference was super awesome. It was all about connecting and like making job connections. It was super helpful. I loved every minute of being at that conference. I learned a lot, and I'm so happy that my sorority puts that on, and that's something that I had an opportunity to go to. It was amazing. After the conference, we decided to hit up the Smithsonian, like the main museum of like history, which I geeked out at because that's the one from the TV series Bones. And if you like Bones like I do, I geeked out. So I geeked out while we were at the Smithsonian. The whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, Temperance Brennan works here. Obviously she doesn't because she's a fictional character, but I still had a great time pretending to be where Temperance Brennan was, and we got to see a bunch of dinosaur bones and things, and it was just amazing. Things close fairly early in Washington because it's all government ran, obviously, and everything is free to go to, like the museums, so they close on time, like very on time. So once we were done at the museum, we decided we were going to walk around to the monuments because the monuments are open. They're monuments, they don't close. So we made sure we saw the Washington Monument, you know, the big one. That was a terrible gesture! Oh my gosh, I just gave the Washington Monument a hand job. So we went to the Washington Monument. It was interesting, very cool. Nice to see it in person. After that, we went to the Capitol building, and we had this whole idea on the way there, because we walked it all, that we were going to try to lick the Capitol. We couldn't get close enough because it was closed, so instead of licking it, we decided to settle for singing in front of it. Now, my one friend who we went with, She is a professionally trained like opera singer, like she's amazing. So she full on sang the American national anthem. Well, I decided to be the cymbals. So she was doing the full, and the rockets red glare, and I'm sitting there in the background going, psh, psh, like full on, there's everything. I got the instrument, she's got the voice. And some of the Secret Service was watching us and just dying, thinking we were the funniest thing. So that made me pretty happy. We had big Merca energy that day. So then after the Capitol, we were walking towards the Lincoln Memorial, which I have a story about that one later. We were walking towards the Lincoln Memorial, and on the way we found the Canadian Embassy, which was really cool being a Canadian. We saw a bunch of Canadian flags and we're like, home. So we had to go there. While we were there, a part of it had amazing acoustics. So we all started singing and just goofing around in these big Muskoka chairs. Muskoka chairs, if you don't know, are like the typical wooden chairs. These ones had beavers on them. They were cute. So we made sure to stop there. Then we stopped for dinner. I honestly cannot remember the name of the place we stopped at, but it was like home style Southern food. So my one friend who's the singer, she's actually from the South, and she was in heaven. It tasted like her grandma was cooking and she was having a great time with that. Your tail's a nub. How do you expect to reach it? How do you expect to reach your nub? Huh? How? The food ended up not sitting too well with her, so she went back to the hotel, but she insisted that me and V keep going on because she'd already been to Washington. She's from the States. That was like a typical school thing to do, but we had never been. So she wanted to make sure we saw all the monuments, and the best time to see them is at night because they're all lit up. So after going to the Capitol and having the food and my friend going home, we then went to the White House. When we got there, we were so disappointed because we were at the front of the White House. And what they don't tell you in movies and TV shows is that the front of the White House is so boring. It's not the part with the whoosh, I don't know what it's called, but the whoosh and the lawn, that's the back. The front literally just looks like a giant mansion with the driveway, which was really boring. So we get there and we're like, this is it? This is the White House? This isn't what it looks like on TV. So we ended up walking all the way around to the other side. And in the process of walking all the way around to the other side, we saw quite a few things. So first, there was a wonderful, interesting protest going on where people had light up signs and they were singing about kicking him out. And it was interesting to see. I've never seen like a legitimate protest before, so it was super interesting to actually get to see like a real protest. I've never actually seen one. Being from a small town in Canada, you don't tend to see those. So that was really cool. It made my friend uncomfortable, so we kept going. We found this man in a onesie singing "Oh Canada," which was very interesting. We made friends because we were both Canadian and, you know, we bonded as Canadians do. We also saw like the Washington CSI happening. This guy was taking pictures and like poking at a fence, and we didn't want to go through the crime scene because that's what I took in school. I did protection, security, and investigation, so like I know like you don't want to tamper with the crime scene. So we stood there being nice, not crossing through the crime scene, and the other Secret Service guy's like, you can go around. And I'm like, okay, I just didn't want to mess up a crime scene. Being the little Canadians we were, just having a great time. We were talking the entire way about the front of the White House being boring. They could clearly tell we weren't from there. We also saw a Secret Service guy walking through the lawn and whispering things into his little headpiece. Now, we did hear what he said, well, I didn't hear, I had earmuffs on, but my friend had turned her teacher ears on, and she did hear what they said. I'm not gonna say it here though, just in case it's something super important. I don't need the Secret Service coming after me. So, we did hear them say something, and we're like 99% sure Trump was like legitimately like in Washington when we were there. So that was kind of fun, just to like know that he was there. There was these helicopters going around with like spotlights. Like, they were preparing for something, obviously the impeachment trials, but like they made it seem like there was an escaped criminal. So me being a little crime nerd I am, had a great time with that. Once we finally got to the back of the White House, we're like, ah, yes, this is what you see in movies. This is what I wanted to see. So once we saw that, we were happy, and then we moved on to head towards the Lincoln Memorial. This is my favorite part. So my friend, V, she was dead set that we had to go to the Lincoln Memorial, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't mind going to the Lincoln Memorial. I'm a big fan of the Team America movie. I want to go there and pose like Gary did, which I totally did. So, as I said before, we walked to everything. So I don't know if you know, but Washington's kind of like a giant upside down T. So on one end you've got the Capitol, on the other end you've got the Lincoln Memorial, and up here you have the White House. So it was a lot of walking. We did a lot of walking. So by the time you get to the Lincoln Memorial, I don't know if you know, but there's a whole bunch of stairs. So we're on our way there, we're about halfway up these stairs, and my friend V breathlessly goes, I love the Lincoln Memorial, and I lost it. On the way there, she'd asked about sitting on his lap, and I'm like, you can't sit on the Lincoln Memorial's lap, it's massive, plus they're not gonna let you touch it. And then it all clicked in. My friend is in love with the Lincoln Memorial. She denies it and says she isn't, but hands down, she is in love with the Lincoln Memorial. We went all the way up. I found out I was scared of the stairs there. The dumbest thing to be scared of, but I was scared of the Lincoln Memorial stairs, so that's a thing. We got there, we took our pictures. I took my picture. Dog kissing break. So then after the Lincoln Memorial, we went to the hotel, check on our friend, making sure she was okay, which she was, so that was good. Filming with a Corgi is impossible because he barks and scratches and bites you and scratches on the door, wants to come inside. Oh my god, Winston, 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 Winston. I don't know if this is a thing other places, but in DC, there's a whole bunch of these electric scooters that you can rent. We tried to rent one, but they said we needed an American driver's license. Our Canadian ones wouldn't work, so oh well, they missed out. But everybody just scoots. They're just scoot around in their little scooters, scooting everywhere. They scoot so much that we ended up making up this like little song. It's really silly. But it was fun. We had a good time, a good laugh. The people around us had a good laugh. All in all, I really did love Washington. It was actually super cool. There was a lot of like pro-feminist things going on and like pro-education, which, considering the climate that the States is in right now, it was really unexpected but super nice to see. I was super impressed with what was happening in Washington, and I truly do love that city. It's super fun. The culture is really cool. The museums are free. You can go to all these amazing museums and you don't have to pay to get in. You can just go and hang out in the museum, and it's fantastic. So if you ever find yourself in the area, definitely go to Washington. Give yourself a couple days just so you can actually see all the museums. There are so many museums I didn't get a chance to go to because we just didn't have the time. But it's definitely a place that I want to visit again, just so I have a chance to like see all those museums and fully experience Washington. And that's my story time of how I was in Washington, D.C. the eve of the impeachment trials. Thanks for watching. I am gonna keep making videos on Saturday and then uploading them on Sundays. Hopefully that works out. Hopefully you guys kind of like this. As the time goes on, I have more stories. They tend to get more crazy. I'm gonna throw some vlogs in. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!